Hello student, today we are going to learn very important lecture from Kant philosophy, that is a simple substance. Myself Dr. Asavari Asre, Professor and HOD Department of Organon at Anantrao Kanse Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Arephata. Student, prior to learn the concept of simple substance explained by Dr. Kant, let us try to explain or whatever is the concept of vital force in homeopathy, because in this lecture Hahnemann tried to Dr. Kant tried to understand the theory regarding the vital force. Or what do you mean by simple substance? As this theory is very unique, and Kant postulate the various properties of simple substance, which are nothing but the physical and chemical properties of element, compound and coded structure along with the various forces connected with them, and therefore it is easy to understand the philosophy of homeopathy. Dr. J.T. Kant tried to refine Hahnemann's concept by replacing immaterial vital force by immaterial vital substance or simple substance. Let us try to understand that. Dr. Kant tried to refine Hahnemann's concept by replacing immaterial vital force by immaterial vital substance. That means, in spite of using the word vital principle or this energy, vital energy, he used the word simple substance. That means something existed in material form. And here Hahnemann explained what do you mean by vital force in aphorism number 9, and this explanation of simple substance is totally based on this aphorism number 9. Let us read the aphorism number 9. In the healthy condition of man, the spiritual vital force, the dynamis that animates the material body, rules with unbounded sway and retains all the parts of the organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operation as regard both sensation and functions, so that our indwelling, reason-gifted mind can freely employ this living healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence. It is an introduction of vital force or vital energy by Dr. Hahnemann in first time in a 5th edition. You know, every one of you know, which was published in 1833. This definition of vital force is totally depending on this 9th aphorism. Let us try to understand the definition of vital force. A vital force is the fundamental power or the guiding energy which govern or regulate all the sensation and function of the body in harmonious way. Yes, prior to understand the concept of simple substance, it is important to know and make clear the concept. What do you mean by vital force, or what is the concept of vital force in homeopathy, and what is the concept of vital force according to Dr. Hahnemann. As this theory of vital force introduced for the first time in the 5th edition of Organon of Medicine, and in which he called this vital energy of life energy as a vital force, while in 6th edition he changed the term from vital force to vital principle, isn't it? And Kant turn this vital principle to simple substance. What is the concept of vital force in homeopathy? The coordinating and defending principle in our body is the force or property of life itself. Yes, the coordination of the sensation and function and the defense mechanism, alert defense mechanism in order to preserve the life of organism, this force is act. This is the force that coordinates our system. And the different systems are running in our body, and these all systems are ruling or influenced by the force which is the vital force. This force that keeps the balance between us and our surrounding. Yes, by making the desirable changes in body, this force able to keep the balance between the human body and mind with our surrounding. By the different mechanisms are developed, by different sensations are developed, different functions are altered, the hormones are secreted, and anyhow this force is keep the balance between body and surrounding. The power that defend us from invading agent. Yes, by the alert reticuloendothelial system and the defense power, resistance power, this vital energy protecting us from the invading agent. It is a preservation of life and also body. The energy that fights to get well when we are sick. Yes, when we are in a sick condition, this energy combat with the disease force, and it fight with this disease force and try to regain its original health. The energy that repairs our damaged tissue, that makes us grow and develop. Yes, this there is a some destructive changes or there are the inflammatory changes are there, the repairs are also very promptly occurred by the vital force, and it is a power of construction. The power that enables us to respond adaptability to an immense diversity of challenges. Yes, whenever the surrounding is not favorable to keep the existence of life, then the favorable changes may be occurred or adapted by the vital force according to the surrounding. And in the first and foremost function of the vital force, it is a keep the existence of life, and all these functions which are necessary for life conducted by life, this life force or life energy. And in homeopathy it is regarding the various functions carried out by the vital force. Hahnemann and his followers believed that the essential nature of a living being was not to be found in the physical tissues and organs of the body. The life is the influence of the vital force on the material body. Homeopath pursued an intelligence variously called the dynamic principle, vital principle, the dynamis or vital force. The different terminology used by homeopaths as regard with the vital energy or vital force, which are responsible for the coordination and activities of life. Not only homeopathy, this concept is not only restricted to only homeopathy, but the idea of life energy or idea of life force is originated from the ancient time, isn't it? And different civilization use different terms regarding the life energy, because the people on the earth very well differentiate the life and death, isn't it? Whenever there is death, the dead body is as it is, all organs are intact, still there is lack of something, the something which is the energy which runs the life. And that's why in every civilization this life energy was very much defined, or very much or there is a very importance given to the life energy and known with various terminology. The idea of life energy is present in many of the world's culture and ancient traditions. It is often linked to breathe. Yes, whenever there is a breathe, there is life. Whenever there is a movement, there is a life. As in Chinese concept, it is known as ki. The Indian, it is a prana or atma, you can say, soul. In Greek, it is called pneuma. The Hebrew, ruch. And our word spirit, from the Latin spiritus. This we use the this life energy as a spirit. It isn't it spirit, म्हणजे आत्मा ज्याला आपण म्हणू, and which is derived from the Latin word spiritus, which is invisible, immaterial thing, but existence of this spirit is there. We can feel with our we only feel the spirit like force, also used in the word inspiration. Why this whole world well acquainted with this life energy? Because they can very well differentiate the living and non-living thing. As you know, these living things are, there is motion, there is growth, there is need of oxygen, there is metabolism is there, the need of food, while and the important function is the reproduction. These all functions are performed by living organism, and the spontaneous there is spontaneous motion is also occurred, isn't it? This, while the non-living things are quite differ from that the living thing. There is no motion, there is no requirement of any food, no requirement of oxygen, there is no metabolism, catabolism, no excretion, as well as there is no reproduction, isn't it? And therefore from living we can very well or very easily differentiate the non-living, and this is the basic concept. The living, whenever the living organism turn to non-living, whenever there is a divide of this life energy, isn't it? And therefore all living things have an integrated force that maintains and directs life. This is true whether that living thing is human, plant or animal. This force is a form of energy that underpins all biophysical and biochemical processes. That is, all physiological processes are conducted in living organism and separates living from non-living matter. All living things have an integrated force that maintains and directs life. Throughout history, this spark has had many names and described in many ways. As in previous slide we see that the in various civilization this life energy recognized by various terminology, isn't it? In the English speaking world, it has been called the innate intelligence. Yes, innate intelligence of the living organism, or to essential energy or essential intelligence to carry out the life, and therefore it is called life principle, life force, vitality, dynamism, regulatory force or vital energy. These different terms are used in English speaking world. You can say in whole world it is, this terminology is used. Hahnemann, the founder of homeopathy, called it the vital force or vital principle. Hahnemann used each and every term with a specific denotation and connotation. Whatever is the energy, whatever is the force carried out all vital functions of the body, he called or he select the word vital force, isn't it? Let us, without knowing this aphorism number 10, you can't differentiate the life and the life which of the living organism, and what happened whenever there is a departure of or there is absence of this life energy, what happened. In aphorism number 10, Hahnemann explained this life energy as the material organism without the vital force. Material organism, the body which is made of the matter. It is made up of matter which available on the earth crust. And this material organism, what happened without the vital force? Yes, he differentiate very well the material body and the vital force is capable of no sensation, no function and no self-preservation. It derives all sensation and performs all the functions of the life solely by means of the immaterial being. Yes, this is the immaterial, which is not a material one. It is not a something solid one or any state of the matter, but it is an immaterial being, the vital principle. Yes, he changed the word vital force to vital principle because number of forces acting simultaneously or at a time in our body, and this vital principle, the chief energy which regulated all these energies in our body, called as a vital principle, which animates the material organism in health and in disease. Yes, there is a three state of our life. One is a health, disease, and third is a without vital force there is a death. Whenever we are diseased, there is vital force, there is the existence of vital force. In health also there is a existence of vital force and regulate all sensation and functions in a harmonious way. While in death there is totally absence of vital force. It is dead and only subject to the self-preservation. Whatever is the star is indicated here, the meaning of this star is given by him. It is dead, that without vital force the material body is just dead and only subject to the power of the external physical world. External physical world means it is a non-living organism and it decays and it again resolves into its chemical constituent. As the human being or it is organic in nature, it again there is a decomposition, there is no self-preservation, all microorganisms attack on the body and there is a decomposition, disintegration of the body and it mixes in the soil. It is a nature. Yes, let us try to understand the function of the spiritual vital force, and whenever there is a departure of the spiritual vital force, this Atma, Pran, then what happened? Yes, it is a peak is described very well whenever this departure of vital force, but yes, it is visible in this picture while this vital force is totally invisible. For the explanation point of view, this picture represent as this body, living body, there is a departure of vital force, therefore this body now is a dead, isn't it? And this dead is a non-living because there is a departure of vital force. Therefore there is no sensation, no function and no self-preservation. Have you got this concept by Dr. Hahnemann? Yes, let us try to understand the spiritual vital force, the functions of the spiritual vital force, how the spiritual energy work in our body and keep the balanced state. Yes, it is a balanced state of our body. It is a healthy state. In healthy condition of man, the spiritual vital force, the dynamis, it is a force in or energy in force that animates the material body, rules with unbounded sway, retains all the parts of the organism in admirable harmonious vital operation as regards both sensation and function. So our mind can freely employ this living healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence. It is a function of the spiritual vital force. Every one of you know the meaning of this. It is animates, it responsible for the movement of the organism, animates it, move the body, and rules with unbounded sway means without any external, it is not ruled by the external energy or any other external influence, but it itself rule the whole body and retain all the parts of the organism in admirable means desirable, in excellent, harmonious, all vital operation, all the physiological functions according to the sensation. Yes, there is different type of sensation created different type of function which are all regulated by vital force. Yes, let us try to understand the characteristic feature of vital force. It is immaterial, invisible, spiritual, automatic, autocratic, dynamic, instinctive and unintelligent. Immaterial means, what do you mean by immaterial? Not made by matter or by any material. Therefore, it has no volume, no weight and cannot measure in length. Invisible, that is not visible to your eyes, you can't see with your eyes, cannot see with our eyes. As it is immaterial, it does not occupy the space. Therefore, yes, there is no volume, it does not occupy the space and therefore not visible to eyes. You know the function of eyes, how this image is created on the retina. As it is no volume, not occupy the space, therefore no any other image is formed on retina, therefore it is invisible and not able to feel by any sense organ. There is no sound, there is no smell, there is no taste at all, or there is no any type of visibility, and therefore it is called, it is spirit like in nature, spiritual in nature. This means immaterial, not perceptible to our senses. It is cognizable by its effect. Yes, it is not visible, there is no sound, there is no taste, there is no smell, still we can feel the existence of this life energy through various function of our body, isn't it? And therefore cognizable by its function, just like the electricity. You know the electricity, the function of the electricity or the existence of the electricity through various instrument, electronic instrument like fan, bulb, etc. Whenever this energy go off, there is no function of that material instrument, isn't it? Fan is there but there is no movement, no function. Similarly, without this, as it is not cognizable, its effect work through the material body, hence is spirit like. Then it is autocratic. Auto means self and cratic means energy, self power. It is self powered. It is not charging is required for the vital energy, or there is no much center to feel the energy. Energy points are there to there is no requirement of recharge, isn't it? It is a self powered. As from the union of the sperm and ovum, live sperm and ovum, there is a fertilization occur, and it is a from this cell power there is a development and you can say the multiplication of the cell, and the power lies in each and every cell, isn't it? Therefore they can multiply, therefore it is a self powered. So autocratic means self powered. It is a supreme authority in our body, ruling in its own way. Then it is automatic. There is no requirement of power from outside to move, isn't it? It's self motive, you can say. The auto means self and matic means acting. The vital force is a self-acting force that animates the whole organism. It reacts spontaneously to all the stimuli against itself. Yes, it spontaneously works against each and every stimuli from the surrounding. Then the dynamic word this used frequently in homeopathy because it is a force in action. Yes, it is not only the force which stagnant or static, but it is a force in action. The vital force has its qualitative action, an action that is dynamic, then instinctive and unintelligent. You know, instinctive means inborn, and unintelligent, yes, it is very intelligently carried out all the sense function of the body. Still Hahnemann called it is an unintelligent force because vital force does not have its own mechanism or own intelligence to work out according to the surrounding, but it is only respond to the external stimuli. Only the function is there. Vital force does not have the power to judge and compare, that is, they themselves cannot change their function according to the situation and works through their own instinct, that is to react only, hence called unintelligent. If there is a derangement of the vital force by the dynamic disease force, then vital force is totally unable to remove this disease force from the body or to stop the development of the disease in body, isn't it? He definitely combat with the disease force, he fight with the disease force, but if disease force is powerful than that of the vital force, the vital force surrender to the disease force and let disease force develop in our body. Because it has no special mechanism to remove this disease force from the body. It combat the commencement but not remove this disease from body, and therefore it is an unintelligent force. Yes, homeopaths believe that the vital force is what gives life to a person. Yes, homeopath believe that according to these all properties he gives the life to the person. But what is the vital force? The vital force is what makes flesh, blood, bones, cytoplasm, mitochondria, Golgi bodies, DNA and RNA work together to create a life. Yes, I am recently told you that after the union of this live sperm and live ovum, whenever the fertilization is occur and zygote is formed, the zygote has it is a autocratic and automatic develop into 3 germinal layer. There is a constant by the process of mitosis and meiosis, there is a cell division occur and the 3 layers are formed, and from this 3 germinal layer whole fetus is created, isn't it? And you can say this ovum and sperm, these are the seeds, and from the seeds the whole tree is developed, that is, it create a life, and it is not only create a life but it create a life, it create according to the species. Then human being gives birth to the human being only, isn't it? And such type of code lies in each and every cell in form of DNA and RNA. This whole life, each and every cell, they function according to the its own way and harmoniously and create a life. The whole functions are all influenced by vital force. Therefore, the vital force is energy, an invisible energy that gives the person his/her own unique qualities and their personal drives to live. Homeopath describes the vital force as an energy that not only pushes the living body in health but also in disease. Yes, the vital force not only work in health but there is lot of function in disease state also. This vital force or energy force is what a person carries within themselves from the moment they are conceived until their death. Its energy must flow uninterruptedly, otherwise negative symptoms can develop. Yes, there is an interruption in the flow of energy, there is a blockage, then it is indicated that this blockage or derangement of the vital force manifested outwardly in form of sign and symptom. The blocked energy creates stagnation, allowing illnesses to take hold of the tissues and organs in the body. Yes, there is a interruption in the flow of energy which is definitely reflected to the normal function of the tissues and organs in the body, and this abnormal the alteration of the sign and symptoms manifest outwardly, which indicate the internal derangement of the vital force. There are viruses, bacteria and parasites around us all the times, but they can only affect a weakened vital force. Yes, these microorganisms are not the cause of the disease, but the weakness of the vital force is the disease. If our vital force is alert, it is strong enough, it is robust, then it is very effectively fight with these all external influences, infectious agent. But the susceptibility created to receive this microorganism because of the weakened vital force. When the vital force is strong and unencumbered, these intruders have no effect on the body. Conversely, if the energy is blocked and stagnant, they may grab hold and make the person sick. Yes, now let us go to the original topic by Dr. Kent. After introducing this here, we already well acquainted with the concept of vital force in homeopathy, and whatever is the explanation given by Dr. Hahnemann in his aphorism, and all the explanation and the concept on which homeopaths believe, isn't it? Any doubt? Get clear it by referring the previous slide. From this slide we start the actual lecture of Dr. Kent, and what are the opinions of Dr. Kent for the simple substance. You know how this homeopathy work? How does homeopathy work? Rather, how it can possibly work? The basic philosophy of homeopathy is like cures like, isn't it? And when we applied our medicine in a potentized form, yes, it is a application of this theory of vital force. The theory of vital force, along with the theory of vital force, Hahnemann introduced the doctrine of drug potentization, and potentization, the dynamization of the remedy. And here the dynamization is expected from the or the potentization of the remedy, or the prescription of the potentized remedy is expected in whenever we apply the medicine according to the similia similibus, isn't it? According to Dr. Hahnemann, the secret how homeopathy works lies not only with dilution originally done to make substance less toxic, but also with multiple succussions done with each dilution. You know the process of potentization, and for every step of succussion, the quantity of the medicine goes on decreasing while quality goes on increasing. And this concept, whatever is the dynamization or the potentization of medicine, and this arouse the only the drug energy. There is no the quantity or the material of the original substance is lies behind, and this concept is very successfully applied in homeopathy. According to this concept, how Dr. Kent applied this. Dr. Kent, in turn of the century philosopher and homeopath, agreed with Hahnemann's theory of how remedy works, that is a potentization. The Kent's view of the vital force was far more religious, and he believed that God's essence flowed through all things, living and otherwise, that is living and non-living also. According to Dr. Kent, potentizing remedies reduce matter to what he referred to as their simple substance, and this concept is explained in his lecture, isn't it? And let us take the paragraph originally what Dr. Kent talk about the simple substance. At the present day, advanced thinkers are speaking of the fourth state of matter. Yes, this paragraph introduces the vital principle. That is the aphorism number 9, introduce the vital principle. It would hardly seem possible that Hahnemann, in the time he lived, could say so much in few lines. Yes, he told you that during the time of Dr. Hahnemann, Hahnemann was very much visionary on his time, and he postulated the theory of vital force, isn't it? In the 7th section of the first edition of Organon, Hahnemann wrote, "There must exist in the medicine a healing principle. The understanding has the presentiment of it." Yes, in 7th aphorism of the first edition, Hahnemann told that there must exist in the medicine a healing principle. The understanding has a presentiment of it. The understanding has a presentiment means it is a presentation, you can say. The presentation of it through the drug proving, and the healing property of the medicine lies in the pathogenetic power or the disease producing power, or whatever is the presentation of the drug substance, isn't it? But after the Organon, he had gone through a number of editions. Hahnemann had somewhat changed, and in this work, which is the 1833 edition, that is the 5th edition, he distinctly called a unit action of the whole organism, that is a vital force. In 5th edition of Organon of Medicine, which was published in 1833, he introduced vital force. That means the healing property, whatever he lies in the disease producing property. Now in the 5th edition, there is a action of this medicine on vital force. The relation he established or postulated the concept of the dynamic energy of the medicine, which act at the dynamic vital force. You get the idea from some of his expression that the harmony itself is a force, but I do not think that Hahnemann intended to teach this way. Yes, Kant told you that Hahnemann expresses the harmony itself is a force, but Kant told you that he do not think that Hahnemann intended to teach that way. That means only the harmonious sensation and function is not only the function of the vital force, rather than the another functions are there. We cannot consider the vital principle as harmony, nor harmony as principle. Principle is something that is prior to harmony. Yes, it is very clearly Kant told that vital principle is not the harmony, nor harmony as principle, isn't it? While principle is something that is prior to harmony, that the whatever is the harmony is established in the body, it is not only the exhibition of the vital force, but harmony is after that. First there is a vital principle. Harmony is the result of principle or law. In next paragraph, Hahnemann could perceive this immaterial vital principle. It was something he arrived at himself from his own process of thinking. Yes, before Hahnemann also number of people know regarding this life energy, but not a single one apply this life principle for the therapeutic point of view, isn't it? They never consider whether there is a role of vital force or vital energy in disease as well as in cure. Only Hahnemann was the physician who considered the role of vital force in health, disease and cure, and therefore Kant told you that it was something he arrived at himself from his own process of thinking. Yes, this concept of vital force derived from his own concept, isn't it? There was a paucity of individual ideas at that time. लोग सोचते ही नहीं थे उन दिनों में, बिकॉज वाई, क्यों नहीं सोचते थे? बिकॉज you know the history of medicine very well, and that's why no dare to postulate any theory, isn't it? All follow blindly the Galenic medicine. Therefore there was paucity of individual ideas at that time, that is idea outside of the accepted science. But Hahnemann thought much, and by thinking he arrived at the idea contained in the paragraph, which only appear in the last edition. In the healthy condition of man, the immaterial vital principle animates the material body. Yes, whatever is a continuous thinking and meditation by Dr. Hahnemann regarding the cure process, he postulated this, or he give the concept of vital force or the role of vital force in the process of disease and cure, and therefore he very well know the role of vital force in life, and this concept of vital force appear in the last, that is the fifth edition and sixth edition also. In the healthy condition of man, the immaterial vital principle that animate the material body, that means the existence of the immaterial vital force as well as the material body, he distinctly divide the existence of life into the immaterial as well as material body, isn't it? If he use the word immaterial vital substance, it would have been even stronger, for you will see it to be a true that is a substance. Yes, here the differentiation of the view of Kant and Dr. Hahnemann. Hahnemann used the immaterial vital principle or vital force, isn't it? Kant told you that rather than use the term vital principle, he should have used the term vital substance. If he used the word immaterial vital substance, it would have been even stronger. जर त्यांनी हा व्हायटल सबस्टन्स असा शब्द वापरला असता तर त्याच्या या म्हणण्याला आणखी पुष्टी मिळाली असती, असं हॅनिमनला वाटतं आहे. का बरं असं त्याला वाटत असेल बघा, पुढल्या ह्याच्यात लिहिलेलं आहे, ॲट द प्रेझेंट डे ॲडव्हान्स थिंकर्स आर स्पीकिंग ऑफ द फोर्थ स्टेट ऑफ मॅटर which is immaterial substance. We now say the solids, liquids and gaseous and the radiant form of matter. Substance is simple form is just as positively substance as matter in concrete form. Yes, here in this work Kant explained the Swedenborgian theory. Swedenborgian theory that energy is based on the fourth state of matter, and he called it as a simple substance. It is not an energy, but this energy has some matter, and this idea originated in the 18th century when all form of energy were considered to have a subtle in substances. The Swedenborgian theory, he introduced the fourth form of matter, that is a radiant form, and this idea originated in the 18th century when all forms of energy were considered to have subtle, that is fine substance as their basis. This view was reflected in the Newton's theory also, that were permanent atoms responsible for all form of energy. That Newton also considered the there is some particles are responsible, or the particles, subtle particles or fine particle must be create the form of energy. Is it here you say the you can say the Hahnemann was Hahnemann was the first visionaries to postulate the existence of pure energies that have no material basis in any substance, isn't it? While Kant told you that this vital immaterial vital substance, तो म्हणतोय की हॅनिमन इमॅटेरियल व्हायटल सबस्टन्स म्हणायला पाहिजे होतं, कारण हाच हा फोर्थ स्टेट ऑफ मॅटरचा आहे इमॅटेरियल सबस्टन्स. इट इज अ रेडियंट फॉर्म, isn't it? Kant could not conceive of a purely energetic phenomena because he felt that all forces must be based on the subtle state of matter, and therefore he told you that it is a radiant form of matter. He not accepted very clearly the energetic phenomena, isn't it? And therefore Hahnemann's concept is totally different. Hahnemann equated these dynamic nature of vital force with natural phenomena, isn't it? Like to electromagnetic force rather than any simple substance. He never used the term substance, while every time he used the word energy or principle. He was pure vitalist who taught that the material world is sustained by radiant energy sources, not subtle form of matter or any permanent atom. But Swedenborgian theory is, Swedenborg thought that in the fourth state of matter there was no quantity. Yes, in the fourth state of matter, which is in a radiant form, there is no quantity, which is a matter is there, but there is no quantity. There is no quantity of simple substance, but only the quality in degree of fineness, isn't it? The quality of degree of fineness. And by following this Swedenborgian theory, Hahnemann, Dr. Kant tried to explain this fourth state of matter. It is a radiant form. and he called it as a substance, and therefore he called it is a substance because it is a matter, and therefore he called it is a matter. That is, Dr. Kent tried to refine Hahnemann's concept by replacing immaterial vital force to immaterial vital substance, isn't it? He replacing immaterial vital force to immaterial vital substance. He used the term substance or simple substance, isn't it? The substance in simple form is just as positively substance as matter in concrete form. Something material is there which is only the quality of material, which is a immaterial vital substance. पण substance आहेच. Yes, anything is there. The question then comes up for consideration and study, what is vital force? Yes, Kent म्हणतो आहे की पण तरी प्रश्न येतोच आहे. The question then comes up for the consideration and study, what is vital force? What is its character, its quality or is? Is means it is a essence. It is a त्याचं काय सार काय आहे त्याचं. Is, that is a is. Is it true that man only has this vital force? म्हणजे केंट म्हणतो आहे की फक्त हेच सत्य आहे का की फक्त माणसामध्येच किंवा लिव्हिंग ऑर्गॅनिझम मध्येच फक्त माणसामध्येच फक्त व्हायटल फोर्स असतो का? इट इज पजेस्ड बाय नो ॲनिमल, नो मिनरल. फॉर अ नंबर ऑफ इयर्स देर हॅज बीन अ कंटिन्युअस डिस्कशन फॉर force as force or power to construct. Yes, power to construct the organism. There is the continuous discussion which is the power to construct. The thought that force has nothing prior to it leads man's mind into insanity. That means the thought that force has nothing prior to it leads man's mind into insanity. That means whatever is the energy is reflected, there must be it must be reflected through any material thing. If man can think of energy as something substantial, he can better think of something substantial as having energy. Yes, what do you mean by substantial? It means it is a real, you can say. It is just powerful, or you can say it is a substantial, you can say it is ज्याला आपण म्हणू की काहीतरी सॉलिड वन, कन्स्ट्रक्टिव्ह वन, which is powerful also. So if man can think of energy as something substantial, he can better think of something substantial as having energy. When he thinks of something that has essence, has actual being, he must think of that is as something existing and as having something which has ultimate. Yes, when we differentiate what is the prior and what is the ultimate, then the energy which is prior, that is when he think of something that has essence, has actual being. काय है actual? तर it is a principle is there, that is a energy is there, and he must think what is as something existing, as having something which has ultimates, and whatever is a prior and whatever is the ultimate, that is the energy is vital energy is prior and it is a substantial one terminate into ultimates. He must think in a series whereby cause enters into effect and furthermore into the series of effect. Yes, you must think a series whereby cause enters into effect. Yes, it is the life is a series of cause and effect, isn't it? It is just a flow of energy. from generation to generation, isn't it? And it is continuously flow, and therefore he told you that effect and furthermore in a series of effect. Yes, this it is a ultimates. Effect means ultimate. If he do not do this, he destroy the very nature and idea of influx and continuous. Yes, you know the idea of influx. Influx means it is a continuous flow of energy, isn't it? And it is a chain of cause and effect. If man does not know what is continuous, if he does not realize that there is beginning, intermediate and ends, he cannot think, for the very foundation of thought is destroyed. Yes, if there is a continuation कुठेही स्टार्ट झालं तर त्याची सुरुवात असते, मध्ये असतो आणि त्याचा एंड असतो. त्याच्यासाठी एक त्यांनी म्हटलेला इन्फ्लक्स हा शब्द वापरलेला आहे. अँड लेट अस ट्राय टू अंडरस्टँड व्हॉट डू यू मीन बाय इन्फ्लक्स. ॲज अ ब्रॉड अँड सबस्टॅन्शियल इलिस्ट्रेशन, लेट अस थिंक ऑफ अ चेन. ही गिव्ह द एक्झाम्पल ऑफ चेन. अँड what is it that holds the last link of the chain to the investment of the first attachment? Yes, it is something. It is a continuation. It is a first chain and it is a last chain, isn't it? There is a relation between the first link to the last link, isn't it? If there is a detachment anywhere in the intermediate thing, then the link is lost. The influx is discontinued, isn't it? Therefore life is a cause, it is a effect, it is a cause, it is become cause, then it is effect, and it is become cause, it become effect. It is a continuous chain. It is called influx. And at once we will say the intermediate link. What is it that connect that link? Its previous link, and so on to the first link and its attachment. Do we not thus see that there is one continuous dependence from the last to the first hook? Yes, या पहिल्या कडीचा आणि या शेवटल्या कडीचं काहीच रिलेशन आहे असं आपण म्हणू शकत नाही. येस, डेफिनेटली देर इज अ रिलेशन ऑफ दिस कॉज अँड व्हॉट इज द इफेक्ट. व्हेनेवर द चेन इज सेपरेटेड, it is as much separated as possible and there is no longer influx from one link to the another. जर आपण एखादी याच्यातली कडी जर काढली, डिटॅच केली, तर पहिल्या कडीचा कॉजचा आणि त्याच्या इफेक्टचा काहीही संबंध राहणार नाही. येस, इट इज अ इन्फ्लक्स, इट इज अ चेन. हॅव यू गॉट दिस? हियर वी स्टॉप द एक्सप्लेनेशन व्हॉट इज दिस इन्फ्लक्स. Let us continue the another part of the lecture in the next, isn't it? Okay, thank you.